Are you aware of the type of Christianity we are now practicing in Nigeria? Now, this video is not an attempt to attack or demean the value of Christianity in Nigeria, but it's an attempt to describe the picture of what we are actually calling Christianity in Nigeria. Well, for me, I would rather say what we are practicing in Nigeria is Christianity, a type of practice that turns Nigerians to insane people. I've watched many videos that describes how pastors manipulate the Bible in order to get their members become mentally subservient to their manipulations. Preachings that enforces members to bring their money, like things like first fruit, a mental conjecture that really, culminate into some form of delusion. Okay, let me attempt to make myself very clear. For me, I'm not saying don't go to church. I'm not saying don't worship God. I'm not saying don't believe in Jesus Christ. But a type of belief that takes you away from realism, it becomes insanity. For instance, there are certain things you can actually do for yourself, because when God created the world, he created laws that governs the world. If you take a step and lean on that step and raise the other step and takes it forward, you move forward. If you take one step backward and put your weight on that step and take the next step backward, you move backward. These are laws. You don't need grace. There's a fine line between grace and law. Now, what Christianity has done to people in Nigeria is to make them believe that everything is faith. No, sir. There's a fine line between the law that governs the universe and faith. Now, if I'm going to travel with a vehicle that has worn out tires, bad engine, a drunken driver, I don't need faith to say that I will get to Bauchi. You should know that that car will not get to Bauchi. If that car gets an accident on the road, it's a simple law that you have the variables that will culminate into whatever disaster that is supposed to happen on that road. So you ought to have made prevention or protection against such a journey. If, on the other hand, you have a car that has good tires, a well-behaved driver that knows the road, good roads, and everybody is following the rule, well, we are not saying that there are no mishaps, but there are laws. If you want to pray, your prayer should be prayers that complement your work. When the Bible says prayer without work is nothing. So what I see in today's Christianity is that people have suddenly taken away the ability to walk and depend solely on the ability of magic that comes from God. You have no investment anywhere, and yet you want to become a millionaire. You have no proposal anywhere, and yet you want to get destiny helpers. You cannot get destiny helpers if you have no value. You cannot move around and crossing over without value and believe that this year will be better than last year. You must have a value for the year 2024 for God to bless it. You must have a seed to bring to a fertile land for a seed to grow. You cannot just walk with faith and you have nothing. What we have in today's churches are people without value, but with so much faith. People who can pray and pray and pray something out of nothing. No, sir. Something cannot come out of nothing. Something can never come out of nothing. You must have something to give. Then you get something in return. It's an exchange. Life is an exchange. To him much is given, much is also expected. You see, I've seen our pastors, because they want money, because they want I don't want to put aggrandizement, self-realization, unnecessary popularity. They tend to want to make the people, the congregants, believe that they have certain powers. Let me tell you, no man of God has any power anywhere. If you have a problem, if the problem is real, find real solution to those problems. If your problem is spiritual, find a spiritual solution to a spiritual problem. But don't take a real problem and confront a spiritual solution. You cannot solve real problems with spiritual solution. If you are an accountant and you wrote a report and miscalculated the figures, thereby leading to poor decision by the board of directors, it's a real problem. The solution is real solution. Is simply take the account back and review the figures, make the calculation, make and correct it. That is real solution to a real problem. If, for instance, you keep money in your house and the money is keep vanishing without you are sure that people are not coming into your house, you have nobody going there, then that's a spiritual thing. Then you look for a spiritual solution. But when you see people taking real situations to spiritual altars, then you complicate your situation. These pastors have no powers. Of course, they know they don't have powers. I saw a woman who says she has low blood pressure, and then she was taken to Ndabuski, and Ndabuski picked the woman up, swing her, roll her around, then brought her on the ground, and I mean, for goodness sake. What these pastors do is to take away your common sense. They ensure that your common sense is taken away. The moment they do that, you become susceptible to their maneuvers. Do you know that the hardest person to tell the truth is the person that is the victim of the lies? Because they've gotten used to the lies. As I'm talking now, I'm sure some people say, "Oh God, don't say anything. This is not your field. You don't go concentrate." No. The truth is that the moment you are taken away from your common sense, you can never understand these men. These men they don't have your goodwill at heart. All they are interested is to make sure that if it doesn't work, it's because your faith is not strong. If it works, it's because they are truly men of God. Either way, you are the losing side. What I'm saying is, go to church, but ensure that your common sense is intact. When you go to these churches and you notice that yes, there's a far cry from realism, just know that you are in a fake church. What is real is what is real. What is spiritual is what is spiritual. Besides, any man who tells that he has powers to heal you and look, if there are powers that have actually healed disabled men, my brother, that's a world-class news. That's a breaking news. If there are powers that have actually turned genuinely blind men to see, you will see it. It's not something that only one community, one small church will just have access to such information. Do you know what it is for a blind man to say he sees, and then such a miracle just remains in one place like that? How come we don't see footages of news of a blind man that was healed to see, and then you see people say, yes, actually we know this man, he was born blind, we knew him, now he can see, or he was crippled, now he can walk. My brother, if Africa chooses to remain in this delusion and thereby complementing these fake pastors, well, it's your own choice. For me, my senses are intact. What is spirit is spirit. What is real is real. There's a fine distinction between realism and spiritualism. Please follow this page and share this post now.